Okay, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate your time. I know that it is noon over there in the UK. As I said, my name is Angela Boudreau, and I'm an application specialist here at Bluebeam Software, and I'm really excited to show you the new features of Bluebeam 2015. Hopefully you all were in attendance at the recent show, and that's how you heard about this webinar with QBS. And I am very happy to have representatives from QBS on the line with us. So thank you so much for hosting this for us. A little background on myself. I've been with the company for just about 2 years and come from a sales background. I have been working with QBS now for just over a year, and love everyone over there on the team. I think it's a great partner of Bluebeam, and really happy that I am privileged enough to work with them. So as I said, I'm really excited to show you the latest features of Revu 2015. So let's get started. Now, just so that you know, a little housekeeping, I will be recording this session and providing it to QBS, so they will have that available on their website. As well as for anybody that is not able to attend. There is a chat window or a question and answer window. Please use that window if you have any questions throughout the webinar, and I will do my best to get to those real time or as we get to the end of the presentation. But either way, I will make sure that I address your questions. So without further ado, let's get started. And it would help using the correct keys. So here we go. All right. Bluebeam Software, we are not your typical software company. We push the limits of the world's most document-intensive industries by creating intuitive PDF-based digital markup and collaboration solutions. Our approach to development is actually really simple. We pick our customers' brains, engage in ongoing conversations with them, and walk through their projects to understand their workflows. Our solutions evolve as our customers' needs do. So the idea really is to keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening in the architecture, engineering, and construction industries and constantly push the limits of what's possible. Now, Revu streamlines processes throughout the entire project lifecycle. By viewing, editing, and sharing documents quickly, you can keep projects moving forward with less idle time spent waiting around. With powerful PDF creation, markup, and collaboration tools in Revu, customers are able to accelerate all stages of a project, from design review all the way through to facilities management. Now it is time to talk about the new features of Revu 2015. And with 2015, we really set out to make it easier to view, edit, and share project documents with teammates in the same office or across the world. And it starts with 3 new batch processing features. One is batch slip sheeting, and this automates the process of keeping complex file sets up to date, allowing users to append, prepend, or replace, otherwise known as slip sheeting, existing page content with new file revisions. Overlay automates the process of creating overlay comparisons between multiple pairs of files. And then batch comparison has been enhanced with the new auto-matching functions found in batch slip sheet and batch overlay, and it also has some overall UI improvements. You may be familiar with Sets, which enables you and your team to navigate a large collection of individual PDFs as if they were a single multi-page document. Well, with Sets 3.0, we've introduced the following enhancements. Set files can now be added to custom categories that you can arrange in any desired order. And you now have the option of revision slip sheeting and filter enhancements. And then you're also going to see some improvement to performance. Next, we added Cloud Plus, a new markup tool that combines the functionality of the cloud and call-out markups into a single tool, which not only saves you a couple of clicks, but it also makes it so that there's only one single markup that appears in your markup list. One of the most highly requested features of all time is finally here, and we're so excited. Sketch Tools is a suite of new markup tools that allow you to quickly create polygon, polyline, rectangle, and ellipse markups to exacting measurements based on a PDF's calibrated scale. Now, it's not going to replace your CAD software, but it is a great way to document site information to scale on your PDF. Also added the dynamic toolset scaler, which enables markups to automatically resize precisely and proportionately when used on documents of different scales. And this is going to eliminate the need to create separate toolsets for working with different scales. Additionally, all grouped markups now resize proportionally in Revu, regardless of the scale setting. Also enhanced Spaces. At its core, Spaces allows you to sort and report on markups based on the user-defined zone they reside in. Well, with Revu 2015, you can now copy and paste spaces across other pages and files, create an area measurement directly from the space, and you can add hyperlinks to and from spaces placed in the document. Updated Capture, which was introduced in Revu 12. And with Capture 2.0, you can now include video with audio with your camera tool in addition to images, which is going to be huge in improving your team's communication of site issues. The PDF summary has also been reformatted so you can capture images more prominently, and it's now possible to see which markups contain capture media right from within the markups list. Studio has also seen some really great updates. Studio session end dates can now be scheduled. There are new shareable project links, so you can share a project file with anyone via a Studio link. Folder permission can now be set on a per folder basis, which is a really big request that we receive from customers. And now you can update a project file from a session without having to finalize the session. And that was another one that customers really asked for, so we're happy that it's available in 2015. So that being said, let's jump right into Revu, and we will see some of these new features in action. For those of you that aren't aware, this is Revu, and this is the interface. It is all driven by this man right here. He is our profile manager, and Revu comes preloaded with several different profiles, as well as tool sets and all sorts of other things. But just like everything else, these can all be customized. Now you'll notice that I'm in the construction profile, and I've got all sorts of different icons and things, all these menu bars that are set up. But I have the ability to go ahead and turn those off and change them. So it's as simple as using a right click. I can go ahead and turn different toolbars on and off. I can go ahead and move these around and really create a customized profile so that Revu is set up exactly as I want it to be. Now, I am in the construction profile, as I mentioned, and just a couple of basic things about Revu. We've got the 3 panels here, so the left, the right, and the bottom, and these are what house the key features of Revu. You'll see here, this is my file access, where I've been able to save files that I use on a regular basis, and it also shows me my recent files. Now, the bottom panel is where our markups list resides. Clearly, there aren't any markups, so there's nothing to see down here. But as you go through and you're marking up documents, this will be populated. And then over here on the right-hand side, again, this is where some of the key features are housed with Revu. Now, I don't expect that everybody's going to remember where all of those things are, so remember that there is this tab access, the upside-down orange triangle, and this is a full list of all of the features within Revu, all of the key features. So all you have to do is pull down that menu, grab the feature that you're looking for, and Revu will open it in the appropriate panel. So let's talk about our 2015 updates. So throughout the project lifecycle, there are bound to be multiple revisions, and now you can manage them more easily with Revu's new batch features. So, I'm going to come up here to File, and you'll notice that we have this great batch icon. And when I pull that down, I have my different options. So slip sheet, compare documents, and overlay pages. And we're going to go through all of those. So let's start with the batch slip sheeting. As I mentioned, oftentimes, throughout the life of the project, you end up with multiple different revisions, and you need to be able to swap those in and out. So oftentimes when revisions are given, you need a way to transfer the comments onto the newly issued drawings. Well, in Review 12, you could manually slip sheet individual drawings from the Thumbnails tab, which was great if you only had 1 or 2 pages. But what if you have 50 or more pages that need to be updated in your drawing set? Well, that's where, with Review 2015, the extreme version only, you have the batch slip sheeting function available. And now slip sheet multiple drawings into a set all at once using this function. And all you're going to do is, again, come up to File, Batch, and we're choosing Slip Sheet. And I have the ability to go ahead and add files, or I can do an entire folder. So let me see what that looks like. Come through here, and I've got my slip sheeting. I've got my originals. I'm just going to grab that entire folder here, and I will add my files from the revisions, and it's just a matter of grabbing them all. Now, you'll notice here that I have these different options in terms of how I want Revu to match those pages for me. I have it set to file name and page index. This is the default, but you do have the ability to change it so that it's page label. You can even do a page region or a manual correlation. There are advanced features that you can put in here, and you'll see that the match field is set to file name. Now this can be changed, and we do have some wildcard items that you can put in here as well to go ahead and find those different files. I'm going to keep it as file name and page index, and go ahead and click on Match. And Revu gives me this great dialog box that shows me how it's going to match up these different sheets. Now, if for some reason something wasn't matched up correctly, I can go ahead and I can make the change manually right here. Now, the slip sheeting options that you'll notice, I have 2. I can either insert the revised pages before the current, or I can replace the current pages. I personally like the insert revised pages, so I'm going to leave that option there. And then you'll see that we've got these other options. So I can copy the markups from my current page to the revised page, which is great because it's going to save me all of that time transferring those markups. I'm going to stamp my current page or the older page with a big superseded stamp. And if you happen to have markups that were flattened, if you have the ability to unflatten those, you can go ahead and do that, and that makes them movable and editable. Okay, and Revu is going to go through the initial process, and it's going to give me this really great summary. Now, the summary just shows me exactly what's happened, and I can create a really nice PDF report. So let's go ahead and do that really quickly. And you'll see I now have this great report. Revised page, and here it is, but let me just go ahead, open up my Thumbnails tab so you can see the power of what's happened here. So here is my current page. Now you'll notice I've got actually 2 pages listed here. The first one is the one that has this big superseded stamp. So this was the original drawing that had all of the markups from my architectural, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing contractors. And here is my revised sheet. So this is the newest revision. As you'll see, all of those markups have been transferred over. And so anyone that's looking at this will know that this is the most current sheet. Now, this PDF summary is, usable by other users who are not, currently using Bluebeam Revu, because PDF is an ISO standard document format. So everything that's created in Bluebeam Revu, with one small exception, that is the capture tool, that's all viewable across all other PDF software. So that's one of the great things about PDF, is that it really is a universal file format. So you can imagine, I've done this with, 5 different sheets, but you can imagine doing this with, an entire set of documents and being able to save that much time. Okay, let's move on to the next couple of batch functions. We're going to talk about compare documents. Now, for those of you who are already Bluebeam Revu users, compare documents is a feature that has been in Revu for many years, and we now have the ability to do batch compare. It's the same dialog box, the same process as the batch slip sheeting, so let's just go ahead here. We'll grab our compare documents and our originals, and then the folder for our revisions. Again, I'm going to tell Revu that I want it to match them up based on file name and page index because I know that they've been set up correctly, but you do have the ability to make that change. I get that same box that shows me what's been done by Revu, and I have the ability to go ahead and make those changes if I notice that something is incorrect. Click OK, and I'm going to get, again, that nice report. All three of these batch processes, the setup process is exactly the same. You'll go through those same steps. You'll get this same summary. It's just the end result that is different. So again, here is my summary, and you'll even notice that as I go through, it shows me how many differences have been identified on each of the different sheets. Go ahead, click OK to create that batch summary. And you can see here that I've got my revised page and my current page, but here's the important one, which is my comparison document. So Revu, again, has gone through, created that comparison document, and clouded that one major difference for me. You can see here, this comparison document, there should be 4 differences, and sure enough, there are 4, and you can see that even in the markups list, those have all been populated as well. So again, just really powerful being able to take this information, get the comparison in a matter of seconds rather than having to go through manually and try and figure all of that out. Now, the batch overlay process, as I mentioned, is exactly the same. It goes through the exact same steps. And overlay is really just mirroring a light table. So it's taking those 2 pages, placing them on top of each other, and showing the differences with color. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to skip over that process. But again, it's all up here under your batch. You've got your overlay pages. And again, the entire process, you walk through is exactly the same. Now let's talk about Sets 3.0. Have you ever tried to manage a PDF document set that has many pages? Well, having a large multi-page PDF can make the file cumbersome to work with since the file can be really, really big. Well, Sets is something that we came out with, and it helps to remedy this problem by allowing you to view multiple individual PDF files as if they were one large document, while also maintaining the lightness and flexibility of having individual files. When you first create a set in Revu 2015, you are going to get a warning. So let's just go over here. I'm going to go to my tab Access. Again, this is really great because I work with the product every day and don't remember where all of those key features are. And we are going to go ahead and add files to a set. Now, as I mentioned, when you start a set in Revu 2015, you will get this notification. Saving a set in any version of Revu prior to 2015 will remove the categories from the set file. So as I mentioned when we began, one of the things that we did with 2015 is we created these templates, these categories. Now, the categories are spectacular because they conform to the AIA standards, and it's included in Revu 2015, but you can also create your own template based on your needs, or you can update existing templates. So you'll see here I've got a construction template. I can go ahead and click on templates, and it will bring up those templates, and here's how we have them all broken out. Now again, all of this is customizable, so if your plumbing sheets do not come through with, just a P, if there's another, naming convention that's used, you can certainly go ahead and change that. But again, it's a really great way to be able to sort these files. So let's just go ahead and we're going to grab our set and we'll grab our originals. Grab a folder of revisions. Just grab all of these. Okay. So you can see here that I now have all of these files opened, and the template is coming into play because it has taken all of my documents and sorted them based on that template. So now I can go through and, it's easy to navigate through anyway because I have, all of my documents together, but they're individual files. But now I can collapse these different categories and, just go to my plumbing or just go to my structural drawings. So really, really great stuff. Now, I do need to go ahead and add those revisions again because I only got those drawings or the originals. So let's just grab these. Now, you'll see here that I am grabbing these revisions, and Revu is asking me how I want to deal with those revisions. Now, there should be some dialog boxes, and I apologize, something is happening. I think it is the WebEx, but there should be some other boxes down here. But you can see here that I've got these messages. Select OK to copy the markups from the current pages to the revised pages, and then stamp those older ones with that superseded. Now, this is an option that you have to select. Again, I apologize that it's not showing up here, but I'm going to go ahead and click OK because I do want to take advantage of this functionality. So again, it's like flip sheeting, taking those documents and putting in the new versions, but really taking advantage of the power of Revu and copying all of those markups over. So you can see that Revu is now replacing those sheets, and if we go ahead and, I wanted to expand those, not collapse, you'll see as I scroll through, are looking for these documents, and I know that it has a revision because it's got this blue arrow, and you can also see just a second sheet underneath. So when I click on that and I open my thumbnails tab, let's see, we want to not use the thumbnails, I'm sorry, we have these back buttons, that's what they're for. You can click through and you can see the different revisions. So here is my old page, again with that big superseded stamp, but when I click through, I have my current page with all of those markups transferred over. Again, all of that information is now, there we go. And so you can see it's a really easy way. It makes it nice and easy to be able to go through and find where those pages are, where they've been updated, but really keeping track of all of the stuff that's going on, so you still have visibility into that old revision to see what's been changed. So the story of Sets 3.0 is that you can run document comparison straight from the Sets panel itself. So all you have to do is right-click on the document and see that you get this compare documents or the overlay pages. So that's, again, a really nice way to be able to utilize the sets, but also that compare documents functionality. Sets 3.0 is going to make it so much easier to view, organize, and utilize your single-page PDFs. So that's Sets 3.0, and now that we've got our files organized, let's talk about the enhancements to the tools that we use to mark them up. Let's just go ahead and we're going to close out of our sets, hide those, and come over here to, again, file access, one of my favorite things, the ability to be able to, have those files that I use on a regular basis, just, open up here very quickly. And as you see, when I hover over, I get this really nice thumbnail view as well. Okay, so let's take a look at our A201 construction plan. We'll make a little bit more room here. When viewing a drawing, two of the most commonly used markups are the cloud and the callout. And before Review 2015, you'd have to create each cloud and each callout as two separate markups. But now you can create them both with a single tool, saving considerable time spent on extra clicks. And if you are familiar with Bluebeam, we talk a lot about clicks and the fact that, saving clicks is going to save you time. Considering your project review may have hundreds of comments, that's a lot of time saved with just one tool, and that one tool is Cloud Plus. So just like everything, there are multiple ways to access the tools. You can see here I've got my markup menu and then all of the different items here. But I also have these different menus along the bottom. And you can't see, but when I click on this little arrow over here, it's actually showing on my other monitor. But it is just an extension of the tools, and it's because I've got the resolution changed on my monitor. So there is an icon, you just don't happen to see it. But we also, as you can see, all of our tools have shortcut keys. So whether you like the menu or being able to just grab the icon or the shortcut key, we have all of that available. Let's just go ahead and we'll show you. I'll show you the standard way, which is to place a cloud. And then we'll go ahead and grab this call out, and we have to place the call out. Now, need specs. All right. So you can see now that I've got these two separate markups. And when I come down here to my markups list, they are listed as obviously two separate markups. Now let's go ahead and we'll use our Cloud Plus, and I'll show you how easy that is. We'll go ahead, and the first click is going to be your cloud, and then the second click you'll notice is going to be my call out, but I can determine where I want the leader line to go. So let's just go ahead and click ADA. It's pretty early here, and I have not had enough coffee, so I'm having a hard time typing. Okay, so now I have this great tool that is just one markup, and you'll see here in the markups list that it is just that one markup. So it's much easier to customize. So if I wanted to, I could right-click, open up my Properties panel, and go ahead and make changes really quickly. Like that, so you can see through. And then you'll notice I've got my call out here as well, so I can go ahead and make those changes very quickly. Text color, right, there we go. And now I have that great custom tool. If I come over here, I've got my tool chest, and you'll see here that this is now my Cloud Plus. Now the tools come over here in your recent tools. These will clear out when you close out your copy of Revu. So if you want to save them, all you need to do is drag and drop them into your My Tools, or you can use this blue gear wheel to create your own tool set. You can see here that Revu comes preloaded with several of them, but I could go ahead and create my own. So let's just call this one QBS. Save it. And now I have a new QBS tool set, and I can go ahead and drag these tools right down into that tool set. This is now going to be saved, and I can click on this gear wheel to save it. I can even export it. So one person is responsible for creating custom tools. You save the tools to a custom tool set, and you can share that with an entire team. Again, just using the power of technology to save lots and lots of time. Okay, so that is Cloud Plus. Again, it makes it really easy to go ahead and move it around as opposed to, having to move the two separate ones or, grabbing those two tools and grouping them together. So Cloud Plus, we've gotten great feedback from users on the ability to do that really quickly. All right, let's talk about the tool, or rather the set of tools that have been the most requested from the inception of Bluebeam, and we're so excited that they are now available, and that is sketch tools. So with sketch tools, you can now create polygon, polyline, rectangle, and ellipse markups to exacting measurements based on the scale of your drawing. No guessing required. So once your document is calibrated, adding a partition, you can do all sorts of things. You can, again, create all of these great sketch tools that are to scale. Again, it's not going to replace your CAD software, but it is a really great way to document this information. So again, go to my File Access, and we will open up this. Oops, see? So I have my site plan, and one of the things that you always want to do when you're using tools that are based in measurements is you want to calibrate your drawing. Now, that can be done over here using the measurement tools. Again, if you're unsure of where those are, just go to your tab Access, click on Measurements, and you'll have that open up for you. Now, we recommend whenever you are doing measurements that you calibrate your document, and calibrating just means that you're taking the two known two spots, measurements, and you are calibrating so that your document is correct. Now, I know that this one is 1 inch equals 20 feet, so I am just going to make that change there, and now I know that this has been calibrated. I also know because we work with this document on a regular basis. So I know that this document is calibrated correctly for me. What I want to do is go ahead and place my site, my plan trailer. And so I'm going to come up here again, the markup tool, and you can see these new sketch tools. So pulling that down, I have the ability to, as I said, polygon, rectangle, ellipse, or polyline. I'm going to use my rectangle, and I will say that this is one of the tools that I had to play around with a little bit, just because when you first make that initial mouse click to drop where your sketch is going to go, you're going to get this box or this dialog box. Now, it gives you the ability to either manually enter your dimensions, or you can simply drag and get to your dimensions that way. Now, I'm going to obviously type in those dimensions, and if I wanted to, I could hit rotation. Now, to close this off, I'm just going to hit enter. Now you'll see I've got this 240 square foot rectangle on the middle of my page, which is great, but it doesn't really give much information. So what I'm going to do is scroll down here. I'm going to get to my properties, and you'll see that I've actually already given this a label, or this should be blank, and I'm going to name it trailer. This is great because I can see it, but nobody else can see that information. Well, that's because you need to scroll down and do this show caption. Show caption will turn on whatever that label is, and it will also give you that measurement. So now anybody that looks at this document, once I've saved this and I send it out, they'll see that this is my plan trailer. They'll know that it is a measurement because the lines themselves are this orange color, and that denotes that it is a measurement. So this is not replacing your CAD software, but it is going to help to really, document site-specific information to scale on your documents. So again, a really, really great tool for customers. Let's talk about the Dynamic Toolset Scaler. This one is fun. The great, another time-intensive process in previous versions of Revu was having to resize tool sets for use on documents of different scales. Because if you created a tool set on a 1/8 inch equals 1 foot document, it wouldn't size properly on a 1/4 inch equals 1 foot document. Well, now with Revu 2015, the Dynamic Toolset Scaler enables markups to automatically resize precisely and proportionately when used on documents of different scales, eliminating the need to create those separate tool sets. So it's a huge, huge time saver. So let's go ahead. I'm going to open up this document that I know has 2 separate scales on it. We'll make some room here. And again, when you're talking about measurements, you always want to make sure that you've got your document calibrated. I'm going to go ahead, open up my measurements. Now, I know, I'll just scroll in here. This main part of the document is the 1/8 equals 1 foot. And so I can see that this has been set up for me. But I also happen to know that this document has a separate scale for this little cutout as well. Now, a lot of times these will come over and you won't necessarily know because there's a way to easily tell besides coming into this Measurements tab, and you can see that there is a viewport. Now, a viewport is basically just a separate section of the document that has its own separate scale. These will sometimes come over when you create the PDF from the CAD software. A lot of times customers, won't even know that it's there. Tell customers, that if they needed to, use the measurement tools or something, they would have to, get rid of the extra viewport. But now, obviously we've got the dynamic tools, so we don't need to do that. So let's just go ahead and I will show you what that looks like. Now, I happen to have, we'll just go ahead and open up my tool chest. I happen to have a dynamic scaling set of tools that someone has created. And I know that it's dynamic scaling because I have the yardstick that is associated with it. Now, the orange box around it denotes that the scale is turned on, but I do have the ability to turn that scale off by simply clicking on that yardstick. Hopefully, I want to show the functionality, so I'm going to keep that on. So let's go ahead and we will say that we are going to be furnishing this office, and I've got this desk with chairs. Now, I can grab this tool. See, when I'm hovered over the main part of this document, it looks like it does, and everything seems to be scaled properly. But as soon as I hover over this section that has the separate scale, the tool automatically resizes to that scale. Now, if I drop this tool, it's going to, save that scale. So if I was to go ahead and move it, it will, remain the same. But going ahead and just grabbing it from my dynamic tool set, again, you can see that it's going to do that dynamic scaling. This is a great, great tool. Customers have been extremely excited about the ability now to, to have these tools dynamically scale across these separate, viewports or the different scales on these documents. It's been a huge time saver for customers. In addition to the resizing the individual markups, all the group markups now resize proportionately in Revu, regardless of the scale setting. So now all the custom tools that have been created can be reused no matter what size the next drawing may be. One of the great things is that you can go ahead and click on the gear wheel and you can actually set the scale. So, you can see that this is what the original scale of these tools was set to, but you do have the ability to go ahead and change those. That's dynamic tool set scaling. Now let's talk about capture and spaces. So Spaces is a great tool that customers have been using. It's specifically for punch and punch walks, back checks, going to sites and having to walk through different areas. It helps to set up these different zones or different spaces on the documents. And it's just been a great tool. But one of the things that people were having issues with was that they were having to recreate these spaces over and over again. So getting the plans for a site or for a building, rather, that was 12 stories, all of those stories are exactly the same, but having to go through and create those spaces over and over again. Well, again, what we've done is we've made it nice and easy to be able to save the spaces and copy and paste them from one page to another. So let me go ahead and open up my document. I don't seem to have it here. Oops. There we go. And okay, there we go. So now, let me just close that out. Okay, so now we have that. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my spaces. Now you can see on this document that I actually have spaces already set up to a one punch. So someone went through and created all of these different zones, and those zones have different rooms. And you'll notice now that there's a green link that shows up with these rooms. That's because you can now hyperlink to these spaces, something that you didn't have the ability to do before. So I've gone through and created all of these zones, all of these spaces, and on my A202, I don't have any of those. And rather than going through the process of having to, again, recreate all of those zones, I'm going to make it really easy by going ahead and copying and pasting. So I'm just going to click on my zone A. It's going to highlight everything for me, and I'm going to right-click to copy. That's pretty easy. Now I'm going to go over to my A202, and I'm simply going to use the following. It's Control, Shift, V. And you can see that this zone with all of those rooms has now been added to this document. So you can see the time savings rather than going through and having to create those zones again. And if this doesn't work out exactly as I need it to, so this room 128 doesn't exist, rather than deleting the entire zone, I can just go ahead and delete that one room. This is, again, something that wasn't available in previous editions of Spaces, and so this has been a spectacular addition as well, the ability to delete different areas within a zone without having to get rid of the entire zone. Okay, now let's talk about our Capture, because again, Capture is one of those great tools. It was released with Revu 12, and it's the ability to associate multiple images with a markup without having to clutter up your PDF. Now, I did mention that PDF is an ISO standard document format, and that is correct. And everything that you do in Revu is compatible with all other PDF software, except for this one tool. Capture is the only thing that does not fall under that ISO standard, but because of that, we've made changes in Revu 2015 to make it even easier to share that information with other users. See here that I know that these are capture items because I've got this camera icon, and by clicking on it, you'll see it opens up that window or that library of images. So a really great way to share this visual information with users with, again, without having to, clog up the PDF with all of these different images. So you can go ahead and scroll through. See all of those different images associated with that one markup. Now, in Revu 2015, the markup, or the capture, now allows you to include video with audio. Now, you're not going to get the audio, unfortunately, through WebEx, but I can guarantee you that there is audio. This is actually at our headquarters when we were doing the build-out, and there was an exposed conduit. So a really nice way, again, to share this information with people back at the office, people who aren't on the job site, to be able to show them exactly what's going on. Now, the way that you share this information, again, we've made some changes to the markups list to include an easier way to share this information. So you'll notice here that I now have a column specifically called Capture. Now, just like the tool sets and profiles, we have a lot of them that come preloaded with the software, and you'll notice that Capture is now one of those. So I've gone ahead and turned that on. Now, the markups list can be filtered just like you do with, an Excel file. So I could choose to only items on this document that have capture associated with them. Just like with other filtering, it's going to, gray out the other markups and only show me in color the items that I have selected or filtered here in my markups list. And I now have this great capture summary in my summary list within Revu. And this is, again, the easiest way to be able to share the information with other users who are not using Revu so that they can get these, the images as well as the video. So I'm simply going to gather all of the capture images and markups, and I'm going to create the summary. And you'll see, just like everything else, it happens pretty quickly. So now I have this PDF summary that I can send out to anyone that includes, the markup. There was a drywall surface not smooth. It tells me what zone it's in, what space, so I can easily go back and match that against my drawing. But it also gives me, these really great images of what those issues are. Emailed directly from Revu and shared with other users. And as I mentioned, here is that video. You will need to know that users are going to have a video player because this is not going to play in Revu. It's going to play in the native program. So just be sure if you're sending that out that anybody that's going to be getting that information has access to a video viewer. So that is Capture 2.0. Again, a spectacular feature, a great way, in a very visual industry to be able to share that information with multiple people. Okay, we are coming to the end of our presentation, and I want to make sure that we get through all of this. So let's just talk about some of the other features that have been upgraded. The best way to streamline processes throughout the project lifecycle is with document-based collaboration, and this is achieved through Bluebeam Studio. Now, just so that you know, Studio comes with every license of Bluebeam Revu, so if you are a Bluebeam user, you already have access to Studio projects and sessions. There are several key enhancements to both the real-time collaboration portion, which is Studio Sessions, as well as the light document management portion, which is Studio Projects. So let's just take a look at those really quickly. So with 2015, you can now schedule session end dates. This is key because previously you would just sort of leave them open-ended and close them off when you were done. But now if you happen to know that you have a session that is, you're only keeping it open for 5 days, you can set that end date right at the beginning and you don't have to think about it again. Revu will give you a notification prior to the closing of the project, just in case, but it definitely automates the process and makes things much easier. Sessions created from a Studio project, you can update the project copy of those files without having to end the session. So being able to take advantage of the light document management system, which is Studio Project, where you share those documents, but then having a design review on a specific document. We gave you the ability in Review 12 to be able to start a Studio session directly from one of the documents that you have checked out. But the issue was that in order for you to update the project document, you had to finish out your Studio session. Well, that is no longer the case. You can now keep that session open, but push back a copy of the updated document to your Studio project file. And this is really, really key for users as well. Studio projects, we've made some big changes there. It is the most requested was the ability to set project folder permissions, which we have now done. So you can set folder permissions on a folder-to-folder basis within a Studio project. So you don't have to create separate projects for different users or groups to access their information. In 2015, you can also share links to specific Studio project files with people you don't want to add to a project. So to do this before, you had to keep downloading the latest copy of a file and emailing it directly to these different users. Well, now you can share a link to download that file, and it's always going to be updated from Studio, so it will always be the up-to-date version for the person that you shared it with. Plus, as the administrator, you can set an expiration date right out of the gate when you send those links so that they can expire at a specific time. This has been a really big request from customers, and it's a little bit of a nod to other solutions, other document storage systems online. There are several other improvements. You can change your registered Studio email address now. And at-rest file encryption. When a file is stored in Studio, it is marked as encrypted when it's checked back in. And then we've also done some work to improve the upload speeds. Also made some changes and updates to Studio Go, which is a feature in Revu iPad. The most noteworthy is that Studio Go accelerates the rendering speed on iPad without modifying the original PDF. So you can still mark up PDFs as normal, and it's free for all Studio users on iPad. Background syncing is now possible as well, so users can continue working while their files are syncing within the document manager, and there's actually an animated indicator that will let you know when the syncing is done. And users can now hyperlink to folders instead of just individual files. For Review 2015, we also made an update to some additional core features. So Microsoft Office. You can now export scanned documents to Microsoft Word or Excel and have them show up as editable text. Now, the process used to be that you had to run OCR, so you had to have a copy of Review Extreme in order to create searchable text and then export the document. But with Review 2015, we have now eliminated that process and made it so much easier so that a scanned document can just be exported without having to do that OCR. It's spectacular. And there's digital signature enhancement, so there's now a digital signature panel. When you open up a document that has signatures on it, you're going to be prompted to open up that panel, and it's a really nice way to easily see, where signatures are required, where they've been placed. So if you have a very large document with many, many signatures, you no longer have to scroll through all of those pages to figure out where they all are. One of the other things that I love about Review 2015 is the ability to export different sections from a document. So, for example, if I have, let's just see, if I have this document here that has this really nice grid, I want to be able to export that information out to Excel because I want to be able to put that information into, into my Excel sheet or what have you. So coming up here to File and Export, I can do export to an Excel workbook and either the full document or I can choose a page region. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose this region here. We'll highlight that. We'll put on my desktop and show you what that looks like really quickly. All right. So with very little effort, I was able to create, to take this information and put it right to an Excel spreadsheet. This is something that customers have asked for. Again, the process used to be that you would have to export this entire document and then manipulate afterwards. So I'm very, very happy to see that this has been updated as well. Okay, so that is it for the newest features of Review 2015. I want to thank you all so much for taking the time today to join us. Just want to double check the question and answer. Yes, we will be providing a copy of this webinar to QBS, and they will have that available in the next couple of days. Again, my name is Angela Boudreau. I am the primary contact here at Bluebeam for QBS. And again, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time today to join us for the What's New in Review 2015 webinar. I hope you were able to get some important information and some interesting information. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to the team at QBS. As I mentioned, they are a fantastic partner of ours and able to answer any of your questions. If you have, if you have follow-up questions, reach out to them and they can only help you out. But again, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time today to join me to learn more about Review 2015, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.